Hi, welcome back to EducateTube.com. My name is Sipski, your host. Today I'll be talking about switching your point and click camera, like this one I have. This is Fuji film camera. It's a Finepix S5800 series. It's an 8 megapixel old camera that I have. Does its job on a daily basis, like at daylight, does a good job. Night, not so good. So I decided, I need to get a better camera that does a really good picture taking and also a good video recording camera. So I had to research on the internet and figure out which one is the best one out there. I narrowed down to two cameras, which is the Canon Rebel series and then the Nikon D series. At the end I choose the Nikon D5200. Okay? And the reason for that is because its ability to do a really good picture taking, right, at 24 megapixel, right? So this is a very high megapixel camera. Now, the megapixel is just one way to measure how good the camera is, not the only thing. In fact, a lot of the professional photographer has lower than 24 megapixel. They may have only 18 or 16 or something like that. And the megapixel doesn't do much unless you want to enlarge it, poster size, right? So again, at least it's 24 megapixel. That's not my reason I picked this camera. The reason I picked this camera is because it can take a nice picture at night, right? So very low noise quality, so high quality, low noise. So I'm taking a night picture or where there's low light. So that's one thing I like about this camera. And you can check at the end my link on my first day using this camera to take picture of the ice storms where there was ice on the tree, and a picture of my son and a picture of my cat, and you can see that it's quite good for the first time, right, doing it. See how this camera compared to, let's say, a point-and-click camera. Now, the thing I choose the DSLR camera is because, this lens, for example, this is not the best lens that they come up with. The lens that they come with this camera is the 1855 millimeter lens, right? It's not the best out there, but at least it comes with it. Okay, so it does a good job anyway for me when I'm taking pictures. It has ability to, of course, do manual focus, which I like about having a lens, right? Moving around and adjusting, especially you want a close-up shot and you want to blur the background. This is awesome to have. But another thing about this camera is that now there's another version of this camera, D5200. It doesn't have this flip feature, LCD screen. And the reason you would want that is because if you're using it for video recording, you would want this, okay? So you can see where you are recording. So that's advantage D5200 over 3200. Now, if if you're just gonna focus on taking pictures, then I would recommend 3200, okay? Because you don't need this feature if you're not gonna do video recording. This is if you want to go further and do video recording, which is why I bought this camera in the first place, because it's feature not only a great camera for taking pictures, but a great camera for recording videos. It does a 1080p recording, so very HD filming, and it can do 24p, 30p, 60i. So in other words, 60 frames per second, but interlaced. Okay, so it does do that, and it has a stereo microphone built in here, whereas the 3200, this only have a mono recording. This has a stereo recording, so that's another advantage that 5200 series, D5200 series Nikon have over the D3200. Okay, and one feature that this camera has over a lot of DSLR camera is it has a optional to hook up a external microphone, right? So for example, I have this 10 years old microphone I can hook up to this camera, and I can, for example, if this camera is meant for news, documentary film or news, right? I decide to make a short film and record someone talking, right? This would be great to have the ability to do that. Okay, so the reason you want this external microphone is that when someone talk, it just cancel other noise, background noise. And you can check at the end of the video the difference between the two. One with its built-in microphone, microphone, and then hook up an external microphone and compare the difference, right? For filmmaking, for documentary films, short films, that make a big difference, right? To do that. Now there's other option as well. Now you can also check out, in the future I'll show you how to do it, is I use a tablet like this Windows 8 tablet that I have, Dell one. You can hook up a USB professional microphone, and you can also record a separate audio track to that, and then when you do video editing, you can then combine those two together to sync them, and also does a good job. So for independent filmmaker, indie filmmaker, short films, I would recommend, and you're short on budget, Nikon D5200 to do this. In the future, as you see when I do more of these short films and all that stuff, I will actually show you what technique I use and what camera I use, what kind of devices I use, so you can also do it yourself as well. Okay, so at the end of this video you can see the attachment of my sample photos, and I also did a comparison between the internal mic and external mic, the difference between audio recording, okay? Like I said, I only explore a tenth of it. There's another 90% that I haven't explored on this camera, like for example different lens that you can replace, different effects like the miniature effect, the HDR effect and all that on this camera, the manual focus, macro effect, using different lens, of course, and so many other features that this camera has. In the future, if I do decide to focus on looking at this camera, I will tell you more about it. But you can always check other YouTubers. They probably know more than me about this camera, and you can learn more from them, right? But like I said, I will be using this camera for making my short film, my documentary film if I decide to do that, or independent films. This is the camera I'll be using, and the reason for that is because ability to hook up a mic and very good video filming. Okay, so thanks for watching EducateTube.com.